This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year we are saying thank you to therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories and millions of journeys. Behind each one of them is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take that next step forward. Moments in therapy, like asking the right questions, having a safe place to get emotional or cry, or small wins, they can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. I've been doing therapy for over 2 years and I couldn't recommend it enough. It's helped me so much with relationships with my friends, families, even myself. It's helped me understand myself better, and it's just made for such a better life. It really has. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for live sessions based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we are collaborating with those therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off of their first month at BetterHelp.com/PFF. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PFF.
The Miami Dolphins traveling to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. Where are we starting with this one? You want to talk about the Browns? You want to talk about the Dolphins?
I want to talk about the Browns. I think a key guy in this game, a guy who's been playing really well for him, I would argue over the last 3-4 weeks, their best offensive player, Quinshon Judkins. I think, look, this Miami defensive line has been struggling. Obviously, the Browns offensive line has been struggling, but you also don't want Dillon Gabriel in any scenario against any team dropping back and throwing the ball 65 times. So I think getting Judkins in the run game going, we've seen in past weeks that the Dolphins really struggle to stop the run. This is where it's going to start for Cleveland. At home, going to be a physical ball game. The defense obviously plays well just about every week, and they honestly weren't that bad last week. It's just their offense put them in bad spots, and they just kept going 3 and out, and nothing was working. So I think Quinshon Judkins is really the guy to look at here. He's 13th in the NFL in rushing grade right now, 5th in yards after contact per attempt, so he's even working through the mediocre at best run blocking the Browns are getting. 15 missed tackles forced, 24 combined first downs and touchdowns, is 5th in the NFL, and he got a late start this season, so they're leaning on him heavily. He's breaking tackles. He showed off the speed on a big run against Minnesota. I think Quinshon Judkins really is the key here in getting this running game going and playing with more balance in this offense to not have Dillon Gabriel throwing the ball 50, 58, 65 times in this game against a Dolphins team that you shouldn't have to. If the Browns can come out and run the ball, I really feel like they have a good shot to win this game.
Yeah, this is an interesting game because I do think that the rushing element is going to be really important. I kind of think that Devon Achane's basically the only guy that you really have to worry about in Miami because, and that's no disrespect at all to Jalen Waddle, but if Waddle's the only guy who's going off for you, I don't know how many points you're really going to put up every single week. Now, when it was Waddle and Tyreek Hill, okay, that's a little bit of a different story. There's a little bit of a 1-2 there, but in the games where Miami has really been able to put points on the scoreboard, it feels like Devon Achane has had one of his best games or more explosive games. So if you can neutralize him out of the backfield, you have a really good chance to beat this Dolphins team. When it comes to the other side of it, Browns, their run defense grade, like you mentioned, against or like we were saying, against Devon Achane. Sorry, I'm getting them mixed up here. 86.6 run defense grade from Cleveland. That's number 1 in the NFL. EPA per rush allowed, that's also number 1 in the NFL. So they are one of the best at defending the run. So Achane as a running back out of the backfield, I don't have a lot of faith in. Maybe as a receiver out of the backfield, like we have talked about, I think that could be a decent play for them there. But here's an interesting stat outside of that, because I do agree with you. I think that means the most towards who wins this game. But specifically, I also found these numbers that were very interesting. Tua has struggled this year, specifically when throwing against zone. He has like a 55.5 overall passing grade against zone. All 10 of his turnover-worthy plays this season have come against zone. He has 0 turnover-worthy plays when he has faced man coverage, and he actually has an elite 91.5 PFF passing grade when going up against man coverage. Now, it's a much smaller sample size. He faces zone a lot more, and I think that's intentional. That's what teams want to do. But the Browns run man coverage the 6th most of any team in the NFL. So that's kind of what they do. So I think that we'll see a little bit more zone from the Browns just because you got to know your opponent and what they really struggle with. But Dalton, that was an interesting split there, which makes me think that perhaps the Dolphins could actually have some success here against the Browns. I will go with the Dolphins. I think this is kind of a back against the wall game for everybody. Tua, the coaching staff, the front office, basically everybody in Miami. You kind of got to win this football game, or we might be done with this era of the Miami Dolphins. I got them winning 2017 with their back against the wall here. What do you think about this one? What's your score?
And to their credit, the Dolphins have played with much better effort the last couple weeks and they've had chances to win their last 2 games and a little bit more success. The Browns' pass rush is obviously very dangerous and a bad matchup for anybody, but an extremely bad matchup for Miami. Tua's going to have to get rid of the football quickly. And, all that man coverage, I think there's 2 things you worry about. 1, those one-on-one opportunities for Jalen Waddle, right, because he's still an explosive playmaker. And 2, I think you have an interesting matchup of these linebackers who have mostly played really well. Devin Bush and Carson Schlesinger against Devon Achane. A lot of big plays for Miami have been Achane swinging out of the backfield and getting in space with the ball in his hands. You cannot let him be the guy that makes 1 or 2 home run hitting plays in this game and turns it upside down. So those are obviously the 2 guys that are driving the Dolphins offense right now. I'm going to take the Browns at home in Cleveland. I really like the way this team plays, especially at home. It's not going to be high scoring, I don't think, because the Browns are just never in high scoring games. But give me the Browns 17-16. I think they win this game in the trenches.